All right. Are you looking to build your business with FBA? And you've been thinking like, okay, I'm building this business and a lot of it is, on Amazon's fulfilled by Amazon network, but you're like, but I could also fill it myself. But do I even want to do that? Do people still do that these days? Well, I'm here to actually say that does happen. So my guest today is a 7-figure seller on Amazon, multiple 7-figure seller who, believe it or not, a very good chunk of what he does is not FBA, it's FBM. And here to talk is Mike Barnhill. Mike, thank you so much for being on Maximizing E-commerce today.
So glad to be here, Kevin. How's it going, man?
I'm going very well. I'm really excited because you're here today. So for those listening, I just want to say that you were actually the facilitator of the mastermind group for people that are, a certain level of sales qualified to be in a mastermind at Seller Summits, and you were facilitating it, and you did a phenomenal job. It was like you really got everybody going, and I learned quite a bit. So I was like, I got to have this guy on the show.
I'm glad you learned a lot. It was I was like nerve-wracked to be able to do it, but it was kind of like a dream of mine. Like one day I want to become like kind of an expert in Amazon selling, and that was kind of like I saw my name next to these other facilitators, and I was like, well, these people are experts, and my name's next to them. Like, I'm not an expert, but it's closer to my goal. So it was a really cool experience, and we had a great group of people.
Yeah, it was a great group of people in the room. And so anybody who hasn't done a mastermind, whether it's one of like Seller Summit or Brand Accelerator Live, or just find someone else, in your area and meet up with them for coffee, once a month or something. Like, it's just, there's something powerful when people get together. And I really like the way you ran the mastermind. One of the things you did that I thought was really cool was you asked everybody start off with like their name, but then also say one thing they're grateful about. I was like, that's something I wouldn't have even thought to do in a mastermind, but it really is such a powerful thing to start off with gratitude, not just I need to learn this. Da, da, da. So that was really cool.
I'm glad you remember that. I know that you're a mindset guy because it's just kind of following your content. I know that mindset's a big piece for you too. So I'm glad you remembered that. And it was a good way for like just me to get comfortable because I wanted to get in a little bit deeper than just like, it's easy to show off and like compare about numbers and, but when we get to the heart of it, it's like, we've been making these good lives for ourselves. Like, what does that look like? So it was cool. Yeah. I'm glad that everybody stepped up and shared.
Yeah. Yeah. So that definitely, you got everybody flowing, and, we all learned quite a bit from you, from each other and whatnot. So just help walk the people listening through a little bit more about your background. How did you even get into e-commerce?
God, man. So my brother and I are business partners, and we started this thing together about 12, 13 years ago, probably. And we started as a music studio. We tried to start a music studio. We were both bartending at the time. So we just had this dream of like starting a music studio. We've been in a band. We were, putting songs out on MySpace back in the day. And then we just decided we'd start a recording studio. And we actually happened upon some money because we'd been broke our whole lives when my dad, who had been homeless, got off the streets and started getting some money back from like a disability from war and from Vietnam and such. So
right.
Long story short, he came into our lives and he gave us this lump sum of like, hey guys, I didn't pay child support. Here's 20 grand. And so we decided rather than like just sit on it, we'd start a thing. So we built a studio and he came and he helped us out. And then from there, we had to keep the lights on because recording studios are hard to run and hard to keep people coming in. So we started selling products on eBay. We found a distributor that would sell us like music equipment, where we could sell it on eBay first, then go pick it up and ship it. So we'd sell it first on eBay, pick it up, ship it, and that was the beginning of our journey. And then we just grew out to everywhere from there, pretty much.
So you started off on eBay, and it sounds like you're almost drop shipping in a sense.
We pretty much were drop shipping before we knew what drop shipping was. We just knew there was this like big distributor down the street that had music equipment, and we needed that anyway. We were already buying it. So we just listed their entire catalog on eBay. And then, like you said, like when we get a sale, we didn't like drop ship from them. We didn't know about that at the time, but we would actually go pick it up in this old Jeep. We'd pick up everything, all the orders for the day, bring it back, and I'd just spend all day wrapping stuff up and then shipping it.
Oh, wow.
beginning. Then I kept the lights on so we could figure out what was next.
Right. So you were doing this as a way of following your dream for the music studio.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, and that's, I didn't realize the story about your dad. So, that's kind of a crazy turn of fortune there that gave you the opportunity to get started in this. Now, in that journey there, how did you end up then, once you got started selling on eBay, how did you say I was going to scale this and do this a little bit more?
God, it was slow growth. I watch these people now starting businesses like you and all these people that are kind of learning what to do and then executing. We had no idea what we were doing, like no clue. We just didn't want to lose the studio. Like I would literally get up in the morning and like, dear God, please help me not lose the studio today. And so everything was about just don't lose the studio. And at least for me it was. And what we just started doing was selling more and more products on eBay. We just tried this and that with shoes and sunglasses and this and that. And then, we started getting these kind of niche little office products that were peanuts. Like they were nothing. But they sold like a lot. And my brother and I looked at each other one day and we're like, we had been reading some business books. We just kind of started really digging deep into like, what do we need to do next? And to scale this thing and to like pay our bills and to like, just survive. And we read Good to Great by Jim Collins. And we realized like we can't be the best in the world at most of this stuff, like shoes and sunglasses, but this little niche office supplies product, like, can we be the best in the world at this? And we thought we could, and so we basically dropped a lot of stuff and put everything into this little niche product that we've since grown into our business, and that is doing everything for us nowadays.
That's awesome. So, and as you said earlier, mindset is such an important part. And you actually were very big on your why there. So you had a why. You wanted to make sure to keep the lights on because you were pursuing this other dream. Now, just may I ask, is the music studio still around?
So we have 3 warehouses now, and they're all next to each other. And we just about 2 or 3 months ago tore down our music studio piece. But the cool thing is that my brother and I aren't broke living in a little 3-bedroom with a bunch of roommates anymore. So we actually have these places where you can see the stuff back there.
Oh, okay. I see that. For those watching on YouTube, you can see it. For those for listening on the podcast in the background, you got some musical equipment. I've seen you on Facebook using as well.
Doing a little bit, yeah. And so then we just moved a bunch of stuff to his house too. So he just bought a new house. He's got a whole room for the studio. So now we can, and everything's remote now. So I have a goal where October 1st I got to send him like a done track, and he's gonna mix it. So we can still do it. We can just do it like in this new modern world, which is really cool.
Okay, cool. So you've now at this point developed a team.
Yes.
And so how did you end up hiring your first person?
So the first person actually my brother hired when my son was born, because at the time it was just him and me, and I would be working in the warehouse and doing purchasing and all of that stuff. And then one day my son was born and I wasn't there anymore for a good couple weeks or a good week. And so my brother on the fly hired our first warehouse employee, who was with us for a long time. And but it was out of necessity. It was like, we need somebody, right. Otherwise packages aren't going to go out. Let's hire. That was our first hire.
Right. So you hired your first person, and were you shipping all your own orders at that time, or did you started doing a little bit of FBA?
Yeah, that was before, there was like back in the day, like FBA and private label weren't even a thing. Like there was no such thing as, at least as far as we knew, as like FBA, and there was certainly no private label. We were just reselling other people's products, and for the most part, and but there was like no master plan. It was still keep the lights on, and now like let me see if I can make $500 every 2 weeks so I can like bartend less, at my bartending job at night times. Like that's what it came down to.
Okay, so it was all about just kind of that inching the ball down the field, and when was this timing wise that you were let's say you hired your first person?
That would have been about 8 years ago, a little more than 8 years ago, 8.5 years ago, when my son was born. I go to the hospital, I call my brother. He's like, I just hired someone to do your job because you're at the hospital right now. And my son was in the NICU for like 7 days, so I wasn't going to be working. So he hired someone. Yeah.
Wow. So you've got a kid. you've got another job, you also have a dream you're pursuing as well. So you have all these things going on. And at the same time too, you didn't have the luxury of all these podcasts and YouTube videos. I mean, YouTube had like cat videos at the time, I think.
Yeah.
And there wasn't really a lot of information out there. So you were reading books like Good to Great, which is very high level. It's not so much about all this. So you were just learning as you go. So what were some lessons you learned early on?
So one of the other lessons was from Tony Hsieh in his book Delivering Happiness.
Okay.
One of the things I think what it taught me was to deliver happiness to your customers, regardless whether they're a pain in the butt, whether they want a refund and they don't deserve one, or whether they want a pizza delivered and you're not a pizza restaurant. Like whatever it takes, just make them happy. Because I know one of the things that trips us up as sellers when we're starting off, one of the first things that I see people in the forums complaining about is somebody wants a refund, and I'm sure we shipped it to them. Somebody wants a refund, and I'm sure that we delivered it, that it got delivered, and they're trying to screw me. And what Delivering Happiness did was it made all of that irrelevant. There's just not enough brain space in our heads every day to worry about getting revenge on everybody or whether it's who's right or who's wrong. So one of the best things that ever happened was reading Tony Hsieh's Good to Great and saying, at the end of the day, just make everybody happy. Just at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Make everybody happy and you will grow and your business will grow and people will talk about you. And that was a huge thing.
And that's such a big thing. And I agree with you 100% that people get sometimes too worked up about like, oh, but the tracking number says it was delivered. Well, you know what? Somebody could have taken it off the porch. And at the end of the day, do you want a customer for life or do you want to be right? You know, and I think people don't always understand that part. So I'm glad that you brought up that point of, you know, it's all about making the customer happy. So in this online world, you know, we're stuck behind a keyboard. We're not going to interact with people all that much. So what do you do today to keep your customers happy?
You know, we pretty much had to build systems in place where if the customer says that they didn't get something, we will regardless just ship them a new one. We'll offer them a refund. We have our customer service team is just trained to, if it's under $50 pretty much, like just make them happy. It doesn't matter. Like don't even call me up. Don't send me an email. I don't want to hear about it. Just make them happy, and it gives everybody freedom to like just deliver happiness. And it was crazy. Is that so many of our best customers have come out of like original complaints, and you just take care of them so right that you know they love you for life, and then they tell their friends about you, and they want you to succeed, and they want you to do well because you took care of them. Like someone's probably trying to abuse you, regardless, no matter what. Somebody's going to, but most of them aren't.
Yeah, that's so true. So early on in my career, I was working at Walt Disney World. And I was a restaurant manager, and we had, I'm going to date myself here, alpha pagers, and we would page each other with like, hey, this person's going around trying to scam whatever. And then like somebody high up was like, guys, don't worry about that. Because here's the thing. Most people that have a legit issue have a legit issue. You're worrying too much about somebody's going to get, you know, $50 worth of food for free when we have, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of, you know, issues that we could deal with and make customers for life, as opposed to worrying about like, you know, whether or not they actually got the hamburger that they claim that they never got, or whatever random thing it was. So yeah, that's such a big thing. So how do you find growth in your business?
These days, a lot of the growth has come because my brother, who's my business partner, is amazing at automation. So he's amazing at automation. So whenever, you know, what used to take like forever, somebody would walk into a store and they'd pay you $1 and then you give them change, and it just takes. He's automated everything from the beginning. So I think that's been a huge bonus for us. And then I kind of consider him like the conductor of our train. Like he's the CEO, and he knows where to go, and he's going to lay out the tracks, and he's going to make sure that we're heading in the right direction. And my job is to optimize the fuel, like to optimize the coal for the train. So I'm a products guy. I love products. I love looking at what the market's looking for and isn't finding. Like I love that. I get excited about that. So I get to build like the most perfect coal for our engine and optimize that and help us get there faster. So that's my part of the scale, is just delivering new products, innovating, and then marketing it well so people want to buy your stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So one of the magical questions that everyone always asks in forums and whatever, whether they're brand new or they've been doing it for a while, is how do I find the next product? So where do you go to find what's your next product to sell for, since you're the product guy?
And that's the missing pieces of the conversation, in my opinion, are twofold. One is
Okay.
just creativity, just straight up creativity,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, where's the art? Where's the art in your product? Like, just the creativity, pulling something out of the air and saying, the world doesn't have this yet. And the world really needs this. And I've seen like jerry-rigged versions out in the public. Like, let's build it. So that's one piece of finding products. And the other one is, I think, just observation, more data coming in. Like, I love to walk through places where my products are used, like maybe like at a bus stop or at a train, on the train, at an airport, at a school. Like, I see my products and I see my competitors' products and I see products that people are building themselves, but not like no one's actually building like a proper version of that. Like, and just getting watching the customers and what are the customers asking for? Because customers are always asking, do you guys have this? Do you guys have this? Do you guys have this? And if they ask, do you guys have this? A bunch, you make it. You just make it because they need it. So, when our first private label, foray into private label, was all about, listening to Scott Voker podcasts, because we were already selling other people's products. So listen to Scott Voker, listen to a couple other podcasts, and then just listening to our customers from way back when, and what had they been asking for, and saying, let's build that thing they've been asking for, and let's stick our logo on it. And that was it. There was no, we didn't have the tools back in the day to reverse ASIN and to monitor on your Chrome extension. I use those now. I use those to help me, but we didn't have that when we started private label. It was just, what does the customer want? Build it.
That's such a good point, because a lot of times, it's easy to get caught up in the latest tactic and whatever. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing people were doing in open air markets, 4,000 years ago. It's somebody wants something and they have money, and you have a product that at some point, it's worth more to them than the money they have. And as long as you're solving that problem they have, or the thing they want, then you'll get the sale. And so by looking at your customers and what they're asking for, that helps you. So what I also want to go back to a little bit here was, you were talking about, your business partners with your brother. And a lot of times business partnerships don't work out, and I'm sure the family, it can sometimes be interesting. So how have you guys kept that good relationship of, knowing who does what and who's in which lane, so to speak?
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, the good thing is, my brother and I have been best friends since we were little kids. We've just been close. So that in and of itself is amazing. The second thing was, when he was born, he was really good at a lot of stuff that I really wanted to be good at. He was really good at it. So I would be well, I'm not going to, apparently I wanted to be a soccer player. So I watched my brother play soccer and realized he's amazing at soccer. I'm not going to be this soccer player, When he got a guitar for Christmas, I picked it up and was oh my gosh. And I played his guitar, and I never gave it back to him. So I became the guitar player. And and I think we just kind of, I don't know what it was, but we've always kind of respected each other's lane. And we do that very much so in business. And the times I've tried to be in his lane a bit, I'm awful at his lane. I'm awful. So we actually have this saying where we're two ninjas with our backs facing each other. So he's facing that way, I'm facing this way. And
gotcha.
We see everything, and we can fight off every enemy, and we can make every attack. But I guess that's how we operate. We operate in one another's blind spots.
So it sounds like there's a lot of trust in what he's supposed to do, he does, and what you're supposed to do, you do, and you don't worry too much about crossing into each other.
Yeah, we got really lucky in that. Yeah.
Because, granted, not everybody necessarily grew up with their business partner, but a lot of the principles there would apply of okay, I'm going to be responsible for marketing and products, and you're going to be responsible for processes and fulfillment and things of that nature, and ordering inventory. So that makes sense. And, the nice thing is, in business, there's no set way you have to do things. So whatever works for you and your business partner, you could do theoretically. So yeah, that's all really cool. So I want to talk a little bit more about FBM, because I'm sure a lot of people listening are like, I'm FBA all the way. Now with FBA, why do you even still do FBM?
The cool thing about FBM is, since we originally started as a distributor, we were selling on our website, we were manufacturing things in-house. We have to carry tons of inventory. We've always had, just for our line of work, we have to carry tons of inventory of other people's products. And for us, we can launch a new product and it sells like crazy on FBA, right? So but if we offer that in bulk and we want to just make that in-house, when a big order comes in, we just make that available. So it's just because of the long tail nature of our business. A lot of things are like tons of different colors, tons of different widths, tons of different attachments. It's just the way our thing works. So we take the top sellers, the top of the 80/20, right? And we FBA those and we private label those. But alongside those, a lot of our product listings will have like a bulk option, other colors that maybe aren't so popular. We have to keep them in our warehouse anyway, because we've always kept those, because it's like the nature of our business. We just heavy in inventory and heavy in long tail products. And then we'll just make those on the fly. We have a whole production crew that we can actually charge more through an FBA version. I'm sorry, not through an FBA, but through a private label version of a similar product with a lot of sellers on it, because we've taken the time to make take the good pictures, do the right keywords, do all the advertising, and we can sell at a huge premium because our products are the best. They are the best. They're from the best manufacturers, and we take the time to really make them sell. So, but yeah, the long tail, we have a long tail of items that we stock, and sometimes a big order will come through for like thousands of dollars that only came through FBM because we have the inventory anyway, or we can get it real quick from our suppliers, and then we get the sales.
Awesome. Now, do you mind sharing a little bit about, for those that are not familiar, what is the long tail? I know, but I want to hear your definition.
Sorry, I get super excited, and sometimes I'm just like off in my own little world of all the things I've.
No, this is great. This is great.
So yeah, like the long tail is just basically like the long tail of a market, right? Like everybody wants most of these things. Like most things that are available, most people want. But there's all these weird, obscure things like a maroon color balloon, or most people want a happy birthday balloon, but someone has a favorite color that's maroon, and so they really want this maroon happy anniversary balloon or whatever it is. Like this, I'm getting ridiculous. But the long tail is just like the demand that exists on and on and on forever for something special for someone. Whether it's in music or whether it's like in a physical product, or even in like a movie about like ultra trail running. Like most people don't care. Most markets you can't find anything about that, but Amazon gives us now access to these long tails where someone who's like, I'm really interested in North Georgia trail running. There's a book out there that somebody can find now because of this long tail.
Yeah, that's so true. Because the thing of it is that there's a lot of competition for those products that are selling 30, 40 a day, and everyone's gunning after each other. But the products that are selling 3 a month, people are still buying. And if you have a portfolio of those products, and sometimes it's harder with FBA because you don't know how many you're going to sell, or you might have the maroon balloon package of 30 and package of 90, and the package of 90 is not going to sell as many as maybe the 30, but you still want to have the option, because over time you can sell all these, whether they're bundles of different packs or colors that aren't as popular or sizes or whatever, that all that adds up.
It does, and sometimes it'll blow your mind too. We had a huge sale to the company Facebook on Amazon about a month ago, a humongous sale, because we happen to have something in the particular color of blue that matched their company logo for some big event they were throwing. So and these kind of like anomalies come through all the time if you allow them to. It's crazy.
Right, and it's like if you don't step up to the plate, you won't get the hit. And, and using, I guess, baseball is more of an analogy too. Like, it's all about getting on base, but everyone's trying to hit the home run. But as long as you just keep getting players, to first base, eventually you fill up the plate and you get more runs.
It's funny you say that, because I'm in another mastermind, and we were just talking the other day about base hits. Like everyone's looking for home runs, and home runs bring out bring about tons of price erosion. Everybody's going for the home runs. Everyone's going for the home runs until they're not profitable anymore. And someone's going to just close theirs out and say, I'm done with this. I'm going to go to zero. And everyone's got to go to zero at some point. So yeah, we're looking for base hits all day long, and there's base hits everywhere on Amazon. It's crazy how much opportunity there is in just like a product that might do 1,000 to 5,000 a month. We consider that like a base hit, you know. And you build up 100 of those, you're crushing it.
Right, exactly. You know, because the thing of it is, you know, you've got how many, like, what is it, like 10 million in some categories, like SKUs. And if you could have a whole bunch of SKUs that are, you know, anywhere from, you know, really popular, maybe they are home run products, to ones that are, you know, barely base hits, but those all start to add up over time. And, you know, the more you can add it up, the more you're going to get more sales and more profit. So do you do these as seller fulfilled Prime, or do you do, or basically, you know, the customer gets it like 2 weeks later or whatever the case is for the ones that you fulfill by merchant?
Good question. So we've actually gotten we built from the beginning of the building of our business, we were merchant fulfilled. So we learned all the kind of the fastest techniques and shipping methods to get things places fast. So we're not actually doing any fulfilled by merchant, the FBM Prime. We're not doing any of that. But we do have, and pretty much everything goes through either DHL, I think it's called Ecommerce, which is like, it's like post office prices, but less than that. Or we do a lot of priority flat rate envelopes and boxes from the USPS, so we just get there in like 2 to 3 days. And then we do a lot of FedEx's new program, which is it's a flat rate, two-day shipping too. So we'll do it based on price. If you spend $5 on our website, you're not going to get overnight shipping unless you pay for it. But it's like $1.92, I think, to ship with this DHL.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's probably a little more than that now. But like, yeah, I think 1 ounce is like just over $2 with the DHL e-commerce service. So there's all these kind of like tricks and tips. We just got really good at shipping and like saving money on shipping and getting things places fast.
Now, do you operate everything out of one warehouse?
We primarily do. So yeah, we have our main warehouses in Miami, but then we also still drop ship a lot of stuff from our different manufacturers. Some of it is stuff that we private labeled, and some of it is stuff that we sell under their brands. But we are able to just sell through our different warehouses that we partner with. Yeah.
Okay. How long does it take the customer on average to get a product?
From us, 2 to 7 days, 2 to 5 business days, pretty much.
Okay. So it's still a good, reasonable time. Now, do you ever notice if you switch something from FBM to FBA that you get a bump in sales or conversions?
100%. 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, out of curiosity, roughly, about how much is that? Because I've heard debates about that. So about,
I don't know,
your experience.
I don't know. So if we've been messing with a lot of our listings lately, and when we want to optimize something, we'll improve the pictures, we'll change the copy, we'll add more keywords, and then we'll decide to FBA it a lot of times, and we'll just watch this boost. But what I find is, this is one thing that we do that might give a better picture, is we will offer different pack sizes of products, and maybe the 5-pack and the 10-pack will both start as FBA, and then we'll say which one of those is actually like the better of two. Which one's getting more sales and the fees are nice and low, and then that one will keep FBA. That one will always outsell 2 to 3 to 5 to 10 times the other option. So like I have a 5-pack and a 10-pack. Yeah, you're also basing it on what people actually want. But I mean, if my 10-pack is FBA and my 5-pack is not, my 10-pack is going to go 4 or 5 times what my merchant fulfilled does.
Oh, okay. So it's about a 4 or 5 time difference between being FBA and being FBM.
It could be. It could be double. It could be, but it's significant. It's definitely significant. Big time.
Yeah. And that makes sense, especially if you don't have the Prime badge on there as well. Now, is there a reason you never went after seller fulfilled Prime?
Mostly just because we are in Florida, and a lot of times we too many questions about it. Too many questions, and I guess rooms for things to go wrong. We have thousands of SKUs. And to go through every SKU and say, well, this one we want to do this one we want to do that. For us, it's easier to just keep things simple. Go anything we want to go Prime, we FBA. Anything that we don't care, if you want 1,000 of them, it'll take you 2 to 7 days to get them. We just don't care. I'd rather put the growth into things that I know will work rather than test something on thousands of SKUs that may or may not hit and could cause us big problems. We've had a lot of problems with like we ship really well, our on-time metrics are good, but every now and then they get off and it just messes your whole day up. And I would rather do things that won't mess my days up.
Right. So you focus on what works and what you're good at, and then focus less on the other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, the problem with Seller Fulfilled Prime, as I understand it, is that you're really on the hook extra more for making sure the customer gets it when they're supposed to get it.
Yeah, and I don't want to be on Amazon's hook anymore. I mean, they're always trying to sell us some program or something else, and most of them, they're hit or miss. But I do know that if I spend this much time launching this product or optimizing this product or doing this, moving products onto eBay, moving products onto Walmart, like I know that the upside is good and the downside is mitigated. Whereas trying some new program out where I have to go through 1,000 SKUs and determine for each one rules how they'll ship, that's a big headache that may or may not pay off. I'm just not going to do it right now.
It's a very good point about, focusing on, what's going to work and what's not. And back in our mastermind, you asked the question to me of what's your biggest profit opportunity? And I was like, that's just a good, and I asked myself that from time to time, like, what is my profit opportunity here? Because sometimes we can get focused on like, ooh, shiny object over here. This sounds great, or I heard this, or da 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 da. And so I like that as a framing thing. Now, here's another framing question. So, you've gotten to be a multiple 7-figure seller and you're doing really well at it. Let's say you were at a point now, if you're looking back and you're doing about knowing what you know now in today's market, if let's say you were talking to someone who was they just maybe became a 6-figure seller. So they got to about $100,000 mark and they're looking to become a 7-figure seller like Mike. What would you tell them? Here's what you should do next.
I would say focus on what you're good at and you like to do. And find people that can do the other stuff. But even if you don't find anybody yet to do the other stuff, start to focus, spend time every day, early on in the day, on the pieces of the business that will help it grow that you like to do, and put your energy there. That's the first thing I'd say.
Focus on the energy. So that seems to be a recurring theme with you, Mike. I've noticed.
Yeah. So I mean, and I would kind of say where that comes from. For years, I was struggling in our business to become our warehouse managing, systems building manager of a team, and I freaking hated that stuff. Like I was in operations, and I'm not an operations guy. I'm disorganized. I don't like confrontation. I don't like to lead people, other than by example and enthusiasm. But I don't like to tell people what to do. I figured so what changed it for me was actually a Tony Robbins business mastery conference where Tony Robbins lays out like there's 3 different types of entrepreneurs. There's the artist, there's the entrepreneur, which is like the gutsy one who takes on tons of challenge. Then there's the manager. And I was like, there's a name for me and I'm the artist. Like, and that's okay to be the artist. Like, I don't have to be an operations manager. Like I can actually sit there and design products because I noticed our team didn't like to design products, and when they did it, they didn't do it as well as I would have liked them to. I was always disappointed, and I said, I'm just going to go all in. I'm the product guy now. From now on, I'm the product guy. The pictures, the copy, the keywords, everything, that's me. Don't touch it. And that was a huge game changer, and that's when we started getting really into private label, and tons of growth came out of that. So I can think that one, Tony Robbins guaranteed like $1 million worth of value in the conference, and I was like, I got that and then some. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Was that like the biggest takeaway you got from that conference?
It changed everything. Yeah, literally. And then when I talk about how creativity is an important part of product development, more so than just the tools, like some of the best ideas came through, like literally I'd be making coffee and be like, oh, these 2 things with this and this, like boom, making coffee. And like that ended up being like, a hit home. That would be a home run. But just like realizing and then nurturing my own artist. Like I go for a run, I'll sit and I'll think and I'll meditate, and then I'll think about a new product, and I'll just sit there with a pen and paper and draw it out, and logo ideas and designs, and like it's art, but it's art that you can sell to thousands and thousands of people. But it's creation. So yeah, that changed the game for me. And now, and I'll shut up in a second, but now I put energy into that piece every morning is the first thing I do. Like before I like answer emails, before I, looking at the stock market or whatever, like before anything, like my brain just goes and it says, what can I do today to create wealth for my business, for create a product, whatever it is, but just to create, and that's going to be done first. And that's been a game changer.
So basically you set aside the time for, what, I'm the artist, I'm the one that does the creative part. So you set aside time for that first.
Yeah.
So do you think about like just new products, or you think about like copy, or do you think about like marketing, or is it just new products?
It's everything. It could be like opportunities in old products that need to get like a resurgence. So where do I find some keywords? Where do I give them some more love? Where do I take some better pictures? What kind of pictures do I want to take? Why did this one not work? And how can I get it to work better? How do I train this one I'm working with now, one of my remote employees? How do I train her properly to get her to do things the way I like them to be done? So it's always like creative stuff, which I think most entrepreneurs don't give themselves credit for their creativity. Because we're creators, like we totally are. So just giving time to that every morning and saying like that's the first thing I want to think about is when I'm in the shower, I want to think about how I'm going to deliver this or work on this. But it's not just product creation, it's just anything that elevates the business and moves it forward is creation to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That makes sense. So you have your own definition of creation, and you're the creator of the things in the business. And then your brother, the other side of the ninja, because for anyone that didn't see that analogy before, it was like you were standing like as if your brother was back was to you and you're both kicking away like it was Mortal Kombat or something like that.
Yeah, and he's an artist in his own right, because he's an artist with systems. He'll sit there and think and write and think and write and think. And then when I see him, like, and then he'll come back with this new system he's integrated. I'm like, dude, genius, But that was just born out of his own creativity as well. So,
okay, that's good. So, whenever you mentioned before about you have, sometimes like in the creative process, you're thinking of like, how to research products that maybe aren't doing as well. And this might be somewhat of a selfish answer for myself here, but and I'm sure everyone will benefit from this answer, but what are some things that go through your mind when you're thinking a little bit more about how do I get this product to do better?
Some of the things that go through my mind are, what's changed on Amazon since I launched this? What kind of new competitors might there be? Where my pictures, it primarily comes down to, I think Amazon's gotten very visual. So where are the pictures not telling the story? Like at a glance, and then also like as you go down the pictures, like people aren't going to read bullet points anymore. To me, bullet points are just keywords. That's it. And where can I? So that's kind of a piece of it. Where are the keywords that I might have missed previously that have changed and evolved since then? Or maybe there's another use I didn't think of, but now I'm seeing there's some other products out there that people are buying for this other use. Like how can I integrate those terms into my listing? So it's very much like it's a two-part piece. It's very much like the visual. For me, I think the visual, it changes the game so much for a product. And then just making sure that the keywords are relevant and what people are looking for. That's it for me.
Okay. So you like to tell the story in the pictures. What would be some tips you would give for someone who's like, how do I tell better stories in my pictures?
One thing I like to do is I like to reverse engineer product reviews. So product reviews are always told when a customer is emotional. I'm so happy that this worked for this. Okay. Or I'm so mad that this didn't do this thing. And so I think one of the things that you can do, whether it be in the pictures or in the bullets, all caps, nice big space between the actual So what I'm trying to say is get to an emotional state in those bullet points. Match that emotional state that a customer's in who's trying to give their feedback to the rest of the world. Okay. You can take that same feedback, reverse it, and deliver it as, you'll be so happy that this does this. Don't worry, we'll never do this problem that this other, without so just keeping it vague, keeping it short, but keeping it emotional. I think emotional. And then the pictures too, just showing the front, showing the back, showing it in a hand. We like to do hands in every shot. We like to show it next to like a desk or whatever to really clarify. And then we'll put text in the pictures too. just to really show it does exactly this and it will not do this. Like, even if it's a good thing that they think it might do, some of the worst reviews we've ever got were when people thought it might do something that it's not designed to do, and it doesn't do that, and they're mad.
Okay.
And so I love to put, like, sometimes in my first bullet point, does not do this, like with nice and big and bold, because I want, or pictures that show it doesn't fit with this.
Okay, so you're creating like a little X over it to like, not this, but it is this.
It is, because I don't want those sales. I don't want those sales. I don't want those customer returns. I don't want that to affect my rating. I don't want that to get my reviews from a 4.3 to a 4.2 where it looks like 4 stars instead of 5 stars. I don't want any risks. So I like to clearly tell customers what products will not do for them.
So in a way, you're separating the customers that are not the right customers and helping to attract the ones that are the right customers. Because at the end of the day, you don't want the cheap sales that half of them are going to end up returning.
Exactly. It's a funnel where I funnel some people out. Some people, that's not for them, and that's fine. That's fine. We got to funnel those ones out because they're going to leave bad reviews and say, this didn't fix my gray hair. And you go, but this is a shoe. Like,
right. If my iPhone still broke, but it's a garlic press,
exactly. That's better.
Yeah, that's good. So, all right. So where do you see the future of e-commerce going? Because you've been doing this for a while and you've seen lots of changes over the years.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. There's just, it's to me, it's so unpredictable. I would have never guessed it got to where it's gotten so far, but there's just so many things, like with, like, these all could just be little pieces of plastic at some point. We could be living in some alternate reality where we're actually buying goods and services, like in Fortnite, right? Where I don't actually need a cup, like, but my Fortnite skin guy needs a cup so he can go. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Will we even need tangible products in the future? Maybe we won't. I have no idea. I have no clue.
The future is like the Jetsons, it's like we have no idea what it's going to actually look like, and we're just kind of guessing at this point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Diversify. In the meantime, just trying to diversify, build as much as I can now, and diversify.
So it sounds like you're kind of doing the same thing, really, you were doing at the beginning of just inching forward, and over time, the ball's going all the way down the field.
Absolutely, and I feel like now is in our business where I can put more efforts into the things that I really love, and say, well, now I want to explore music more again. I want to explore, video editing. I want to explore more creative things that I think, as we live more and more in the digital realm, like this, just the skill to be able to create, I think, is something that I want to keep on feeding that curiosity and that creativity, because I think that that's one thing that will be relevant forever, is the ability to kind of create things and pull things out of thin air based on your inputs and your experience, whereas AI is going to do so much of the other stuff, and who knows?
Yeah, who knows where all this goes? And it's just, as long as we keep working on it and refreshing the listings, so to speak. And I would say, if there's one takeaway I've gotten out of this, is really focus as much as you can on what you're good at and what you enjoy doing, and make sure you have people to do the other stuff. But
totally.
But focus on that. Well, do you have any closing advice to people who are listening?
Closing advice. I don't know. I think we all deserve to work on ourselves. Like, I really think we do. I think before anything else needs, they say pay yourself first when you're starting to invest, which basically means pay yourself into your investments, and that goes into your investments for the future, and you're taking care of yourself. Everything else will get paid. You'll figure it out as long as you pay yourself first. But I think paying yourself first in time too is something that we should be doing, because we will be better business owners, we will be better leaders, we will be better teachers, we'll be happier, more well-adjusted people that are able to go out there, kick booty, and make lots of money if we take care of ourselves first. So, giving yourself some time every day to say, what's the thing that will move the needle forward most in my life and in my business? Like, let me spend my first hours doing that before the rest of the world comes and puts its demands on me. Like, so pay yourself first in time too. That's
awesome. Well, if somebody was listening to this and they wanted to find you somewhere, is there some place that they can find you or follow you?
let me see. I've got Team Barnhill, which is one of my music projects on Facebook and Instagram. And I've also got Hydra Fighter, which is my new one. It's a new band I've started, and that's also on Facebook and Instagram. So Hydra Fighter and Team Barnhill are my two things.
Awesome. And is it still on MySpace?
It's probably some other band name, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked in a while.
Awesome. Well, this is a great conversation. You definitely shared a lot of golden nuggets of wisdom and some good tactical things that people can implement as well. So I really appreciate you being on here, Mike. Super
fun. It was an honor to be here and have a great time in Texas next week.
Awesome. Yeah, we've got Brand Accelerator live. So in fact, this will be going live, I guess, as we'll be in the middle of the conference. So yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mike.
For sure. And tell Scott I say hello and thank you for all the awesome advice he gave me starting out as we began our private label journey. So have a great time and tell Scott I say what's up.
I certainly will. All right. Thanks, Mike. Have a great day.
Bye, Kevin.